What's going on? I caught it, y'all. I caught it. See that? I caught it in the cookie jar. Real quick, y'all. It's your boy DISCO100. We back at it, man. It's my pleasure. This young lady I've been knowing for a couple of years now, I believe. You know, my mind ain't that good. But it's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
I've been getting on her nerves for a minute, put it like that. But DJ Trop, I appreciate you coming through today.
Thank you for having me.
I know we got a lot to talk about because you're a very, 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 very busy woman. And let's get started. If you can tell them a little bit about yourself briefly, where you're from, what actually do you do, and we're gonna have fun.
We're gonna have some fun. So it's nice to be on this side,
okay,
instead of the other side. So
right.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
My personality is Tropical Barbie, or DJ Trop, and he's being modest, but we have known each other for years. But he's been one of the first DJs that reached out and has helped me become a DJ. And put me on. And so I actually am a COO for an independent digital radio station like him. And so as we've discussed, as we got in this game, it's not a competition, it's a collaboration. And I've learned my way through while he's already had this setup going. So like I said, the COO for a station called The Preeminent Radio. We're located in Midtown Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also the chief marketing officer for an independent label called Para Music Group. Shout out Para. I have my own consulting company and a jack of all trades. So my consulting company is my breadwinner now. I don't work a 9 to 5. The pandemic has caused a lot of us to be creative. And that's what we're going to talk about, all the creative things. You know, I am a CAU grad, so Clark Atlanta University. Both my bachelor's and my MBA from there. And their motto is find a way or make one. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And there's no excuses. We get down. I know that I have been in tears at times. And Disco has seen me there and it's given me motivation. It's given me avenues. And then after they say you're going to cry or you're going to boss up. Well, I'm going to do both. So I'm going to cry first and then I'm going to boss up and we're going to keep it moving. And that's basically what I've been doing. And so anybody listening, anybody out there that watches this replay there's never, there are never any setbacks. They're just setups. It's not setbacks, they're setups. So every time you think you're being taken back, something else has come that's been even a more amazing. Like I can't see it all the time, but anything God takes away or I think is being taken away is replaced by something better. And I'm so happy to even be here at this point. I think last year was the pandemic we started and I didn't have my playlist together. Disco actually took me to the Guitar Center to show me how to get a controller, what I would be looking for. And now I'm out here interviewing artists. We just had C-Bone from the Dungeon Family at the station. I just did an interview. We have Young LA this week, and we got some other stuff coming up next week. But I'm now in a position to interview people by watching him. So he set the platform. And I'm also in a position to DJ. And so, everyone scratch your back, each one teach one. And I'm just, like I said, I know it's long-winded, but I mean, I've come a long way to get here.
So speaking of a long way, I know when I met you was very beginning.
Yes.
And you were nervous, and I kept telling you, just be you.
Yeah.
You're blessed to be beautiful, and you're going to have, and that's what I want to get at. How challenging is it to be a female DJ? and because are people respecting you for the beauty, the music, both, and has it been a crutch for you?
So I think one of the things that I would tell everybody is, at first I was very adamant about the way I looked, about not looking a certain way, coming in baggy jeans, toning it down, not wearing makeup because I wanted people to see I was smart. And what I realized is whether I come in this room butt naked or whether I'm fully clothed, it is incumbent upon me to let you know that I have more to offer. And if you think I'm attractive and you find me attractive, thank you. I did not wake up like this. It took a little work. And so I appreciate a compliment, but I let everybody know that I'm always about my business. I'm never shy to say thank you for a compliment, but if we working, we working. And so in this industry, people come at you, oh, I'm trying to holler. But the first thing that people see when it comes to females is what they appear and what they look like. And if all you have to offer are your looks, I turned down a lot of gigs in the beginning when I said I was going to DJ. Some people had not even heard me DJ yet and was like, okay, come on. Because they're like, oh, you're attractive, you're draw people. But, you have to respect the craft a lot, and I'm still learning. So shout out to all the DJs, DJ Unique, DJ Sense, the people that have brought, besides disco, that have brought me under their wing and have just basically just started teaching me and showing me how to properly DJ. So if I just, relied on my looks and just pressed the button, then, I mean, after one or two, grabs, or maybe a couple of gigs, that's it. I don't want to be a sideshow attraction. Now, if you're attracted to me and you want to see some eye candy, which what people say, they want to see eye candy, but I want to be eye candy and I want to be fire. So in order for me to be eye candy and fire, you have to practice. You have to understand. Sometimes I just sit back and I say, no, I can't do that right now. Out of respect of, I appreciate some people giving me the opportunity. Shout out to Prophecy Entertainment, Luther, for giving me my first gig here in Atlanta after the pandemic kind of let up, and I was DJing at Tribeca on Thursday. Gave me, he says, hey, I know you've been behind the scenes, but let me just set you up. And out of respect, they let me grow and put me in a position. Then I started booking gigs from that. Once people put you out there, you got to be ready though. And you got to be ready to see that. But people, as a female, the first thing they do look is, what you look like. And so I want to be sexy. I want to be, I'm a mother, so I'm single, so I'm not on the prowl, but I want to look a certain way, and I don't want to have to tone it down or have to tone it up for anyone. I want to be myself. And if you think I'm attractive because the way that I dress or that I look, then that's great. But I want you to respect my craft and respect my mind.
It's funny you say that, because people that know me, I say the word cookie monster. So basically, you're not a cookie monster, of course, but like you said, you got to be ready to back it up, because the eye candy going to be there. So if anything, you got to come harder than the fellas, because now it's like, it's picture perfect. Like, I see how she look. Lord, please, she can DJ.
Yeah, please.
So it's a 2-for-1 deal, and it's perfect. So your first gig, let's backtrack.
Oh my gosh.
Your first gig, and I don't know, your first gig, how did you feel after that first song went through your system?
The first gig was horrible. We have the horror story. Anything and everything that could go wrong. Not at the radio station, I was killing it. And it's a lot less pressure. And I tell people that it is a difference, and respect the craft again for those people that DJ live in an actual venue and the people that DJ at a radio station. No disrespect to either or, but radio station is a little less intimidating. You feel comfortable, you're relaxed, you can auto play, you can slowly mix in stuff. It's not as pressure. When you're on spot and you're live, people are waiting to keep that stuff moving. So I got there, the first gig I had at an actual venue here was at the Tribeca, and it ended up storming. And I have a daughter. My sitter was canceled at the last minute. And so I had to drive my daughter all the way from Duluth to McDonough. People that are not from Atlanta, that's basically an hour drive. And then I had to drive from the hour drive backtrack to the location. Now, as a beginner DJ, or they call it the starter DJ section, you are your first up. So that was 6 to 8. So I'm doing all this in 5 o'clock traffic. That was beautiful. And I get there, and the night before, as I'm preparing, my entire hard drive crashed. The whole hard drive crashed. And as I'm talking DJ language, and you understand, is that when the software for Apple upgraded to Big Sur, it's good now, but I still am afraid to even press that Big Sur button. But when the upgrade happened, I upgraded the laptop and went to go plug it in to go practice my playlist, trying to be prepared. In the Serato software and the controller did not support the Big Sur. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, the night before the gig, we talked about getting to the gig. The night before the gig and the city cancel and stuff, I had to call Apple support, and they had to wipe my entire computer back out. And they said they were backing stuff up. And to this day, I have no music from what I had before, from the pandemic, and people just sitting there downloading. Disco had even helped me with some downloads and stuff. I lost everything. So not one song that I previously had the night before the gig was there. And they had to wipe it out clean so that they can reinstall the whole old drive, which was High Sierra. And when they did that, like I said, all the stuff was gone. So in the morning, I'm trying to vigorously download stuff. Now I belong to a couple of DJ pools. I did BPM Supreme and a couple of other things, but basically I'm trying to get my playlist and everything together almost an hour before the gig. Now when the sitter canceled, like I said, it threw my whole time off. So now now we're at the venue. We're like, that's okay. I made it here. I hate to be late. And I was 10 minutes late. And I know they were kind of like, this girl just showing up for her first, almost like a first job, the first job, and you walking in late. Now, mind you, there was nothing else going on, but still respect. You know, you still got to respect. You should be there. All DJs, you should be there at least 15 minutes before, if not a half an hour. And I tried. Same thing today, trying to get through this traffic. But I get there, I'm 10 minutes late. And when I went ahead to go plug in with their controller, the drivers that would recognize the controller were gone. So I am now 15 minutes late and I'm trying to download the drivers. I have no engineer. So that's another thing. When you become a DJ, you are sound, light, and engineer. So please know you're not just press a button just because your people say you can put together a good playlist.
And a promoter.
And a promoter. Yeah, and a promoter because they want you to promote, which is why the whole eye candy thing is there. They want you to promote. So I download the driver. I mean, I'm proud of myself because I was like, I had nobody to ask. And when I hooked it up, it looked completely foreign because it wasn't my controller that I had worked with, and the drivers weren't there. And so because they, I'm sure, were perturbed with me for being late, I was asking them, like, so which channel am I on? The guy came and he was just pressing buttons and like, well, just try one of the channels. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I could tell they're pissed off at me. But I honestly, it was not my fault. Now, another lesson, please do not try to DJ by DJing off of streaming platforms. Please download all your songs. Now, I had downloaded, but as a backup, I was like, I have no choice. So I'm trying to DJ from my streaming platforms and the buffering. So the songs are playing, and then all of a sudden it would be radio silence. Then, because the computer was so whack, on my actual, people will tell you which software to use when you DJ. I personally like virtual DJ. They say industry standard, or everybody loves Serato. I like virtual DJ because of the features that they have on there and a couple of other reasons. But when you're on a name brand, which like a Serato, it does not necessarily always coincide or upgrade with the software for virtual DJ. Now, all this I'm learning within the last 6 months, okay? So, long story, but I'm like, this is like a lesson learned. So when people say, like, when I say tears, I was like almost like ready to just burst in tears, right? So the decks were switched on my controller and on my computer. For whatever reason, they kept flip-flopping. My right was left, my left was right. I don't know what was going on. In addition, for the couple of songs that I had ready to go for cue points and stuff, all of the cue points were gone. Then I'm like, okay, let me put my headsets on and let me just try to work through this. The headsets didn't work. So now I was like, you have got to, this is all the first time that I DJ'd live.
Now, people in there this time?
No, so they're coming in. So they're coming. Good thing is, like, at 6 to 8, it's really like a happy hour crowd or the early crowd. And at that time, they hadn't, I think they may be now, but they didn't have a happy hour. So they would, this is they call it the train spot for a reason. So people really didn't start showing up till about 7:15. But remember, I told you I was 15 minutes late. Yeah. So now we're rolling into like 6:45. And what I had did as a backup is I just played the house music that was already on the channel. And I know they're thinking like, why would I hire this chick if we just gonna play the house music? So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, don't, just keep going. So no headsets is working. So that's where it comes with, you got to be able to read the beat waves. Yep. And you got to know the songs that you're playing. Yep. So when I say it's like, it was the worst but best experience of my entire life, at the time it was bad. Like an hour in the show, no lie, the guy came over and he just shut off the music. He didn't say, because at that point I'm like, I couldn't tell why the music was.
You was playing live?
I was playing live.
And he came upstairs and just cut it off.
I was playing live, no lie. I was playing, and people say, I can't believe you tell this story. I can't believe, but I'm like, you have to recognize where you come from. You can laugh at the time and still move forward. So, and I had my friends, I'm advertising for my friends to come and stuff. They had just shown up. He came over because, like I said, with the whole, I didn't know, now I know why, the music kept buffering. And so you would be playing a song, there would be like silence. I'm like, I didn't press any buttons. What's going on? I'm looking all frazzled. He came over, he reached over, and he just lit that thing down and let the rest of the thing go. And I was like, oh my God, I'll never DJ again. My friends came. I was literally like in tears. Like, you know, I said the computer crashing, the sitter canceling, the drives. I'm literally like, I cannot believe I'm still even here. My friends are coming. I was like, I'm not eating. I'm gone. I'm done. I'm done for the day. And then the promoter came. He said, look, Tosh, like, I believe in you. Everybody got to go through their things. Don't worry about it. Sit down and eat. So we sat down. We ate. We had a good time. The next week, I was on it. And I was on it for the next 2 months, where the point that I was DJing, people came up and said, yo, I like that. Yo, what's up? Do you DJ outside of here? I like that, you know, so it goes to show you that you gotta continue to keep showing up. Like if I had just given up and said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. I'm over it. I wouldn't have been able to come back. And then you also had, like I said, the guy that did hire me, we went to school together. He went to Morehouse, I went to Clark. And like I said, I'll forever, ever be grateful to Luther from Prophecy of Intent for putting me on. He says, look, he says, Tasha, we all go through this. Then the next week he said, how's it going? Then he introduced me to the DJ. Shout out to DJ Princess Cut and the rest of the DJs that are out there that brought me in and says, hey, if you have any questions, ask. Everybody's not like that, because it is a cutthroat, especially in the females, because there's not a lot of females that know what they're doing, and people come on and say, hey, what do you think you're doing? Shout out to DJ Tracy Steele. When I reached out to her and said, hey, I like what you're doing, she's like, here, you need to work on XYZ, and holler at me after you get some more practice. So, be humble enough to take the feedback, but also don't give up, because if I had given up after that, like I said, I went there for another 2 months, and then finally I was like, okay, now I'm starting to book gigs. I don't want to be the training spot anymore. I'm ready to now go out. And I got a birthday boat party at Lake Lanier this Saturday. And we're in talks now that I may go out and actually DJ with Mr. Cheeks. He's got a couple of road shows that's coming up, and we talks to maybe go ahead and DJ with his DJ Unique, who brought me on. And so, like I said, is that people see you grinding. DJ Sense has already put me on to the Twitch account. And so people see, like I told him, I was like, I'm not just going to be cute. I'm not going to be just a push button. I'm going to be a DJ, because I respect what you do and I want to learn. And when people see you keep coming back and asking questions, and after you get the feedback and say, okay, what else can I do? What else can I work on? Then they respect you. And it's like, okay, well, you cute, but now I see you really serious. And that's where I say it's a comment, like, don't say, oh, all they want is my looks. Well, hopefully people do think I'm attractive. I hope you do. But then I want you to see me like, yo, she's fire. And that's what I'm trying to get to.
I hear that fire, that accent, fire.
Yeah, fire.
Where's that from?
So originally from Massachusetts, Worcester, Massachusetts, born and raised up north. But I've been in Georgia now more than I've been up there. I've been in Georgia for, over 20 years now.
Let's backtrack. I want to know, because I know when I met you, what you was going through with the job.
Yeah.
How was the transition, and what got you into want to do music?
So I've always wanted to do music, and I always say, you know what? I have been transitioning to do what I'm doing for years. And every couple of years, I'd get laid off. So in my profession, I was at executive level. I do mergers, acquisitions, union contract negotiations for 16 years. That's been my profession. I've worked for companies like GE, IHG, some of your major Fortune 500 companies. And I'd go and I work through their reorg restructure, and then after that's done, my job is gone. And it was a repetitive pattern. And in between doing that, there were times that I wanted to act and do other things. And I just didn't have the fortitude to just go out on faith and just do that alone. And so I said, you know what? This pandemic, then also too, losing my job in January of last year, I was like, I got to figure something out. This can't be it. And so when I said that, I said, okay, well, I know that I know how to do contracts. I know that I know how to do employee relations. I know how to do websites. I could do EPKs. So you got to have something for the breadwinner. And I say, if you really want to do the music, how can you get in that? And so I was already with the label, Paramusic Group. And the radio station that brought me in now is with a female saying, hey, I don't know everything, you don't know everything, but we'll figure it out together. It all comes with opportunity, preparation and purpose. When they come together, it's a divine intervention. Like, as I said, okay, this is what I want to do. And since I've been following in that path, other opportunities have been coming up, from this radio station to the hosting to the DJing. And so when you start walking in the lane that you're supposed to be in, which I feel like I am, it's a struggle. Some weekends I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make it? And other weekends I'm like, God got me. And so the transition happens when you want it to happen.
So, like, I know with me, different events I get, I kind of give myself a day to build my crates up. My normal thing is like I got an event Saturday downtown Marriott this Saturday.
Uh-huh.
So my question is, with your child, with your other radio station, how do you designate that one day to get ready for that particular gig coming up?
You don't sleep. So when you work for yourself around the clock, like literally when I was telling him, he's like, when can you get here? When you can get, and I'm like, honestly, you have to be active on social media because that's your network. Your network is your net worth. But outside of that, I was literally up at 1:00 in the morning preparing our radio.co station for our playlist for this week. Then I was up at 9:00 this morning checking up the interviews that we got going on. And then in between that, I was cutting the playlist for my interviews that happen on Wednesday. Is like, if it's what you really want, you'll find the time. If it's not, and it's not I didn't look at, I'm up at 1:00 in the morning, then I'm up again at 9 doing this or whatever. And in between that, when I say 9, I mean 9's at the table doing my work, but I'm up before that because I'm fixing my breakfast for my daughter. I'm cleaning the house. We have all these other things that go on. A tree literally fell on my neighbor's house. The sink fell in the off the ground. I mean, all the regular. I mean, all the crazy regular things. It don't go away. Yeah. So if you say, "Well, I can't do this now because the sink just fell apart," or a tree fell down, or "Oh my God, this happened," and unfortunately we've had a death in the family with COVID. We have life. I tell people life happens, and it's going to continue to happen, and you can either go with the flow, or you can let it happen to you, or you can say, "Let me see what it is." Take a moment. Don't act like the stuff doesn't exist, because I do believe in mental health, and we started a nonprofit for that recently after losing a cousin to suicide last year.
Can you touch that a little bit? What is that going to be about?
Yeah, so that's we actually did a news story on that. The Channel 2 news covered us, and we lost. My cousin was 24, committed suicide, just mental health, the stressors, a lot of things. We didn't see the signs. So we said, how can we do that? How can we impact and be an impact? So we started a nonprofit called Javon's Deck of Cards. And we said, okay, what can we do to do something to make a change? And so this is targeted towards men, towards young boys. It doesn't have to necessarily be African-American men, but where the founders are African-American, but it's to young boys to say, we cannot forget about our men and to lift them up. And so it's to give them either training, resources, or money for financial stability or therapy. We don't talk about therapy enough. So if you need it, it's like so taboo, like people don't want to talk about, like, I don't need to talk, I can pray, or sometimes you just need that extra. And we've been pretty successful in as far as trying to reach out to partners and things like that. But it's very, the story is tragic, but it's the 1 year anniversary just passed. He passed in May of last year, May 30th, 31st. We couldn't figure out the day of last year. And his friend that asked his mom to go ahead and say, hey, we want you to do a special news story on this or whatever. His mom got us the spot. Then he committed suicide. And you're like, so this, there's a real pandemic, there's a real, taboo. So like you're getting down, but then you're saying, okay, what can I do to have purpose? What can I do to make a difference? And so no matter what I'm going through, I tell people, if I need a moment, I need a moment. I need a moment. And I think everybody should do it. Because like I said, this life is happening, but take your moment and say, don't let it be your entire life or your entire mood or your entire being, for lack of a better word, is you're allowed to have your moment, but then pick yourself up and keep going. What's your next moment then, if that's not the moment you want to be in? So yeah, the nonprofit, we're going, like I said, Javon's Deck of Cards, supporting young men and their resources, mental health, as well as just job and mentorship and things of that nature, to help promote something positive out of something just so tragic that happened.
So music, like for me, music is that's my stress relief.
Mm-hmm.
How do you value music besides DJing, making the money? How important is music to you?
So I tell people, until the pandemic hit and stuff, which I want to write and do scripts and all the other stuff when I have money and I can just sit back like I'm a Tyler Perry. But one of the other things. But I realized that I don't even watch TV. So if I have a moment, the only thing that's going on in my house is music in the background. Whether it's calming music, whether it's R&B music, whether it's soul music, whether it's music to work out with. It is my entire being. I'm not ever going to be an artist. I'm not trying to be an artist or write it, but I love music. Has a way of transcending somebody emotionally to a different place. And so whenever I need a moment, I use music. And whenever I want to calm, like I said, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So my vice is music. So if I want to be in a certain mood or a certain space, I put the right tracks to, to put me in that, or right genre to put me in, I should say, put me in that mood. And it's, I constantly think about how can you market. The actual business in the industry has changed dramatically, even in the last year. Everything from going to Tower Records, I'm dating my age, to streaming platforms now.
Yeah.
How artists get paid, and how music is appreciated. Whether it's a lot more of sometimes now, unfortunately, of popularity as opposed to quality.
Mm-hmm.
But I still value the sanctity of quality music over just somebody who's just social media, popular.
Do you have that song that gets you over the day? Like when you're not feeling upbeat, do you have that song?
So Marvin Sapp never would have made it.
That's my favorite song.
Never would have made it. So I mean, my favorite artist of all times, I think, is Babyface. I don't think I don't think there's.
Where would you go? Is my favorite hit.
So I love Babyface.
Mm-hmm.
I think of the artist of just like I can't think of a song that I don't like of
You went to
him.
go see Babyface.
Yep, I did.
That's
I did by myself too.
Yeah,
I was dating a guy and he did want to do something
It's all
else,
good.
and then he didn't, he wasn't really vibing with me. I said, I'm getting this ticket and I'm going with it without you. And then people don't recognize, don't let nobody hold you back. I said, well, no, I got me second row seat.
I think I asked you, I said, you going by yourself?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
The guy I want to go with, he started acting funny. I said, you will not make me miss Babyface at the Fox Theater. I bought myself second row seats, and I know he was singing to me. He don't know he was singing to me, but in my mind, he was singing to me. And yeah, so Babyface, I think, is all-time artist, but I think outside of that, Marvin Sapp never would have made it. It brings tears of joy and it brings tears of sorrow, but I love that song.
I'm a Brian McKnight fan.
Me too, because my Pandora station is Brian
Yeah,
McKnight.
I'm a Brian McKnight. That's my dog.
Yeah.
I ride Brian,
Yeah.
him and Kim.
Yep.
I can ride them all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So any music that you don't want to deal with, like for me, I'm gonna speak for me.
Mm-hmm.
They laugh at me because I don't mind it, but it's the crowd that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
The trap.
the loves and the shawties and I know I gotta know it, but I have a little DJ circle,
Mm-hmm.
and when I get a phone call disco, and I get the age, I send that way. So any genre that you love more than others?
I love the R&B. So I love the 90s. So and for me personally, when they say DJ, I love to DJ at lounges because it's a setback vibe. It's usually a grown and sexy vibe. I don't mind people smoking and stuff, but I'm not a smoker. So I don't want to be in an environment where I am weeded out. No disrespect to people that smoke weed. As my mom says, it's medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a different type of crowd that comes, and it's a different vibe. Even now, and I'm sure as our parents, they had their own vibe, but it's undeniable. The 90s and the 2000s was amazing. It was an amazing era, and I love and appreciate people that either emulate that type of sound or that type of vibe, and that's usually my go-to. I don't mind getting crunk. Like I said, I just had C-Bone in the studio, and I promise you, they was like, you seem like you was more excited than C-Bone. I'm like, he performed that song, but I was kryptonite in it out. Like I like to get crunk. Get crunk. You want to get crunk, but then for the most part, I'm not walking around crunk. So for the most part, I'm vibing and I'm chilling. I want something that just makes me feel good, like some SWV or something like, just makes me just want to be like, ooh, put a smile on your face.
Correct. So when I met you, it was a different name. What was it? What caused the transition? I knew you was Tropical.
Yeah.
And of course your real name, but what prompted the change?
So we use tropical Barbie for the radio personality,
Mm-hmm.
and then because I know that I don't want somebody looking at me and only hiring a female.
Mm-hmm.
So I dropped the whole tropical, and DJ Trop is easier to go through. So when they hear the name, I don't want to be like, oh, because it could go good and bad. Somebody like, I don't know if I want a female DJ. I don't know if she could really DJ, or somebody like, I just want the DJ because she a female. So I want it to be gender neutral. So my personality at the station for the preeminent radio is Tropical Barbie, but when I DJ, I try to say DJ Trop.
Okay. Now, what do you see DJ Trop at what we get 2021. Let's go 26.
Hopefully I'm on a world
No,
tour.
we say hopefully.
So where you at? I'm on a world tour then. I'm on a world tour. I got my own, well, we do have our own station going. Our station is up and going. The label, like everybody else, is the indie label. We took a step back at putting out music and stuff to make sure we could do it the right way since artists can't travel. And our major push for the artists were traveling. But God willing, this pandemic dies down and we get back to a different norm, a norm that we can actually travel and feel safe. And I'm pushing artists and I'm doing other things with artists to help develop. My actual show on Saturday nights from 6 to 8 is an indie artist show.
Tell them how they can find you.
Yep. So you can find me on thepreeminentradio.com. My social media is at PRINCESSATMAYS, Princessa T Mays. And you can find the actual show on Alexa app now. You can say play the preeminent radio and you can hear at any given time. My show though again is 6 to 8 on Saturdays. And then you can watch on YouTube, our YouTube live channel, like the way Disco has here. You can watch us on YouTube. We'll go live. So I'm hoping, or like I said, not hoping, I am going to be on tour. My daughter will be older. She's 10 now. So
I'll go next question.
yeah, she'll be older. So I have a lot more flexibility. In this pandemic, I just don't leave my baby with anybody, with or without the pandemic. And she's my only child. So I make sure that family time comes. Sunday is usually my downtime. I try my very best to just answer immediate emails and text messages and DMs because I get a lot of stuff on my social media, but I try not to really conduct business on Sundays. And spend my time with doing, whether we're biking in Piedmont Park, we're rollerblading, gardening, doing whatever we can to get that family time, because you need to make sure that you remind yourself. And I was telling somebody this past holiday, I could have went to Cancun or I could have went to Negrilla, Jamaica, and instead we chose to honor my cousin and go on a family trip, and we went to Destin, Florida. So I said, don't be so busy making a living that you forget to have a life. So I want to make sure that I have that balance. And she sees me. She's like, Mama, you got a lot of jobs. So she sees me working. She sees me hustling. She's an excellent student, gifted. And I'm so proud of her. But she also knows that, it comes with hard work. So if she sees her mom hustling and doing multiple things, then that means that, there's no reason for me not to be. And so that's why, in years to come, I'm going to be in my own mogul status.
So bucket list, without saying babyface, bucket list. Who would you like to interview? Give me top 3. I know one is probably babyface, so let's go with the other 2. Bucket list.
Bucket list to interview. I don't know a female that wouldn't want the ultimate Beyonce, because she's the ultimate female. Let me see. Outside of that, it's kind of hard because there's so many that you really want. If I could,
I want Ashanti.
You want Ashanti? Yes. I would say, well, I think I try to think I think of the people that are transitioned. So I would say the Beyonce / Jay-Z combo, because he's definitely. I want to be with people that have turned their business from from just the actual music to an actual business and an entity. The Nas, oh my gosh. Nasty Nas would love him. Oh my goodness, I love Nas. But just you think about the evolution. We're talking about street people that you can relate to that didn't have a silver spoon, and they didn't necessarily change their entire being. But as your taste change, as your environment change, you should change. So they changed, but they still were the same. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm actually. How do you adapt to that now? That's my trend. That's my problem.
Yeah, so my thing is, like I tell people, I could be Cardi B today and Michelle Obama tomorrow.
Okay.
And I don't let anybody pigeonhole me. So the way that you adapt is always be true to your core and your being. So I know when to be respectful and when to come with the appropriate attire at appropriate places. But sometimes I may want to be ratchet, and I don't want to have to apologize for that. That's maybe what I'm feeling today. And other times, but still respectful. Respectfully that way. I'm not gonna be bucket naked and dropping it like it's hot. But I think the reason why so many people are in discontent is because they're trying to fit a mold or trying to be something that they think somebody wants them to be. And I think you adapt to the environment and the people that you're around. So I'm not going to be playing trap on Sunday. at the church, but it doesn't mean that I don't listen to trap. So it's knowing when and where to flex if that's what you really like. But not so much as they call, what they call switch coding and stuff like that, but just knowing there's a time and place for everything. And you can always be yourself if you put yourself in those environments where you want to be yourself.
You said something that was kids' time, place, everything.
Yeah.
One thing that pissed me off as a DJ, and I'm pretty sure you dealt with this, I cannot stand for the owners of the establishment to tell me what to play.
Or how loud the music is. That's the one thing I had. They would tell you at Tribeca. I'm like, it's a club, restaurant, lounge, or whatever. And I got the music down. And I'm like, I can barely hear the music. And they're like, low, low, low. And I was like, maybe it's just me. So the other DJs, they were saying the same thing. And I'm like, do you want the music? Do you want it? I understand not having to scream over the crowd. And so I didn't have too many problems with the whole what to play. Because, you do recognize the audience, but I don't want to play less.
No, you do.
Yeah, I recognize the audience. So like I said, I'm not playing trap at the Sunday cookout at the church. So you got to know when to flex that. My catalog, because I had to rebuild it, has been where I've known the most. Although when the pandemic hit, I tried to venture out in other areas, and I had to build up some other areas from the country, because you got to be able to respect other areas. The soca, the Afro beats, and those type of things. And then I've got to start all over with research and things because everything crashed. But I stay in the lane where I'm at. And like you said, if it's not for me, I don't have any problem saying that's maybe not my lane and pass it on to somebody. And if it's something I want to get into, would you mind if I tag along? Would you mind if I just sit back in the background to kind of see the vibes and how you do it? But that comes with people that know that it's a respect of the craft, and it's a respect of I respect you and what you do, and I'm throwing you this money or this bone because I know that I could take the gig just off of the strength that they just want to hire me, whether I'm a female or whether I'm associated with somebody. But I know I'm not going to give the audience. You got to remember that the audience what they want.
Yeah, because what I was saying about that was like, I was at the lounge one time. It was an older couple having dinner, but the owner wanted me to play the trap music.
No.
And I'm trying to tell them, like, you go back there and do what you do.
And let me do what I do.
Let me do what I do. And when somebody walk out because of the music, then we can talk. So a lot of times, these restaurants, these club owners, they want to do everything. And that's when I get real aggravated. That being said, where's been your biggest challenge besides keeping up with the different genres and computer system? What have you learned from that, and what do you want to do different now?
I think is trying to figure out where to go. So I think as a new DJ, is trying to where you're getting valid music, because you don't want to rip. I'm trying to respect. You don't want to rip the music, but a lot of these DJ pools don't have I love go-go music. I'll use that for an example. That DC go-go live band flavor. There's more than just DJ Clue in the butt. But when you look at it, yes. Yeah. So, there's a lot of people that don't have that music. So now it's like, where do I go? So now I got to go and fish and find that. And it's not, unfortunately, it's not giving the artist their credit, because I've gone to the DJ pools that I've subscribed to and that I've paid for, but they're not, they don't have the music that I need. So now I got to go and just get it offline and download it. So I think the biggest challenge is trying to support the artists in the DJ pools that, to get the music that I want to play, and then trying to figure out what is hot, because to be honest, I'm not a trap person, but the clubs play that. And so I don't think I'll ever probably be booked for a trap, but I'm like, you don't have to turn down money if there is an opportunity for you to go ahead and get a different client and stuff like that, because you're not prepared or don't want to play. But it's trying to figure out what's hot, what's not, and where to go for that. So everything, I'm on SoundCloud, I'm Spotify, Pandora, Sirius XM, regular. You have to be a student, so you have to listen to a lot of different places.
Yeah. And one of my tricks I do is a trick to put a secret out there. One of the tricks I do is I hit up all my friends on IG, the young ladies. Okay. And I say, send Unc 20 of your favorite songs. Yep. And that's what I do. So every month they'll send me 20 of their favorite songs, and I just know I can't lose. Because these girls 20 to 25, 27, they call me Unc, and they look out for me. So I got one file and say Unc. All that trap music, all that stuff. Bam.
I'm gonna have to start doing that. I have
beats, and rock and roll from there. It's a little cheat code, but can't keep
Well,
up
not
with
so much as a cheat code. I think
I can't
you're
keep up.
you're trying to make sure that you stay relevant. I
Well,
think
I'm
that's
trying to
what
stay
it is.
away from it. I got a circle of DJs, and I got
Mhm.
some younger cats. I
Mhm.
try to venture off that way. I try to stay away from it. I'm just a believer that with a little somebody gonna come a lot come with a little
Yeah.
something. So where's it be? Okay, besides that, I know your inspiration. Besides your daughter, I know that's number one.
Mhm.
What is your inspiration besides your daughter?
Um, Definitely, I would say my mom. You know, she had me as a teen mom, so she was more of like a best friend growing up. But the one thing I could say is that she always, whether she did it or whether she had the opportunity to do it, she instilled how important education was, how important of being able to stand on your own 2 feet was, how important of, you know, the relying on, you know, the men above and you, not even your parents. And the ability to keep you know, not just we talked about the CAU, find a way to make one, but also too is that, you know, you're as strong as you believe you are. So every time you think that, you know, you're breaking down or whatever, look at what we came from. You know, we lived in the projects growing up. You know, I step outside and I see crack pipes, but I didn't know. And by that first week when we saw that, when I was old enough to recognize that, let's just say we didn't stay there very long. My mom was like, we out of here. But you know, I didn't know that we lived in the ghetto till after we moved out. So we never went without. So even though we weren't rich growing up per se by dollar amounts, I never went hungry. I never had tattered clothes. And my mom, and not ashamed to say, growing up, we, you know, we had, when they had food stamps, we still had that paper food stamps. Well, no card that you was swiping. We called it the brown paper money. But she worked 2 jobs to make sure that we didn't have to grow up on brown paper money. She worked to, she had me when she was young, but it was like, okay, so this is our circumstances and look, we're struggling. So that means if you want something else, then you're going to have to be able to go to school because I can't give you anything. Now I'm teaching my daughter that you need to be smart, but school may not necessarily be what, so I'm also teaching her how to be an entrepreneur. And so when I look at that, my mom's very proud of me trying to step on my own. And, you know, like I said, there are great times and there are, you know, they're not so great times, but the fact is that she instilled is that you are in control of your life and you are in control of what you do, and no one else is accountable for that besides you. So if you're waiting for somebody else to tell you or to give you something, then, you know, chances are they're not going to give you what you're worth, or they're not going to go ahead and give you what you need. They're going to give you as much so you can stay under their umbrella and you could be a service to them. So don't be afraid to step out and be your own boss, but make sure that you recognize when you need help. Don't be ashamed or afraid to ask for help. And that's where it was when we were growing up. Like we had enough family members that pitched in, from my aunt to my grandmother to everybody. That's why we went on family vacations and stuff. And I'm talking about, you know, my mom worked 2 jobs to make half of what I made for a living when I got out of grad school. But it never felt like that. And I think that, you know, that goes to show you that it's not about money. It's about value. It's about time. And it's about how you use that. And how you, you know, how you make your kids feel. So my daughter will tell you all the time that I'm her best friend. And I love that. Or she'll go to sit and, you know, my sister said, you must have a really good relationship because your daughter says, you're really nice like my mommy. You know, so when you hear your kids say that and they recognize that, like, you know, my mom is nice, not just because it's my mom. It's not just because I said so or whatever, or she recognizes the sacrifices of things I do. That's the way I think, you know, that's the way I think of when I think of my mom and, you know, my inspiration. So both of them kind of keep me grounded.
That's deep. That's deep because I was raised by my, you know, I was raised. So what do you tell your daughter about when things don't go her way? What's her next step?
Well, I would say, you know, things don't always go your way, but it doesn't mean it's not going the right way. So it's, you know, we don't always get what we want, but we always get what we need. And so, you know, we had to step back on a lot of the activities when mommy wasn't working. As the only child, her father has other kids, but as the only child, she was doing piano, gymnastics, basketball, you name it. She was in it. And then she had chess club, you know, so we was in everything. And I said, okay, we got to scale back to one activity. We got a budget. And I had those conversations, not because you aren't great. And so now she's a gymnastics fanatic, but I said, you know, here's what mommy's doing. Here's why I'm going away and coming back, or why you see sitters and all this other stuff, is because I'm making sure that we have, you know, what we need going forward. So I let her know when I lost my job, you know, if I look sad, like, you just never be afraid to scare them. But, you know, I think for her, it's like what I wish my mom would have did. And I recognized the hindsight 2020 is when she was stressed out. It was like, she didn't go in her room because she didn't want to be with us. She was tired. You know, she was dog tired. So I tell my daughter, like, if I need a moment too, you know, and most of the time I can take my mom by the time she goes to bed because it's 9 o'clock. So I can pull it together for that amount of time. But if I can't, I'm honest in saying like mommy needs a moment, and she respects that and she notices that.
So right now, I know you're deep into the DJ, you're deep into your radio show, you're having fun. Now, when things open back up, are we still staying that way? Or we may get that phone call from a corporate office, or you just pretty much, what's the game plan?
Well, I say at this point, I want to be remote. So I don't know if I want to go back to an office now. And I know that with the pandemic, you can technically do that. So I don't know if I want to actually go back to it, but I say like in some of these jobs that they call, it's to say, let's put out there, when the job's calling you and it's $160,000, $170,000, and you basically struggling, you know, you're like, I ain't turning down phone calls now, but I also know that my heart is where I'm at, and since I've been following it, God has been providing a way. So I don't know, you know, people that have had unemployment, and I know that that's ending this month. And so it seems like every month I get a new contract for something. And so, you know, I'm staying steadfast. I'm praying and I'm saying, you know, whatever's for me is for me. And whatever you put, whether I want it or not, let your will be done. So if it does call for me to go back to work, I'm not like, no, because I'm in my own dream and I'm not doing that. If I got to do that to help get my finances to a point, I know that won't be my end point though. So I know that it would only be a limited time. So I'll be very careful about what I wrap myself into, because I know that where I'm at now is my passion. And while I may not have as much money as I did when I was working corporate, I am so much more happier. I feel so much more content, and I'm so much more at ease.
So your daughter right now, if she came to you right now and graduated from high school and, okay, let's say college, and she said, Mom, I graduated from college, but I want to be a DJ. I want to be a radio person. What would be your advice to her?
I would be, make sure that you have something else to fall back on. So like when the you know, when the pandemic hit and the job let me go again, I had enough skill set. More importantly, with the MBA, I still use my notes and my books, my finance and my marketing to this day, and that's 10, 15 years ago, to start my own business. So if you don't have that aptitude or that special skill to be on your own, then I'll say education's the key, because I'm using it today. I'm using the stuff like literally, it wasn't just a piece of paper. I am using my MBA now for my own personal business. And I appreciate that, because you know, I don't have a natural talent.
Hold on, you got
No, I say, well, maybe.
Don't say that part. You got a natural talent.
I haven't figured out how to tap into it and make it money. So they say when you do what you love, that's why you say, what are you gonna do when you're doing what you love and you're walking in your passion? The money is gonna come. So I have a talent, I guess, for I would say really for bringing people together and helping other dreams come to fruition, which is how my consulting company came to business. So I've gotten clients doing that. We're doing apparel. We're setting up laser light bulb business, trucking companies. Those aren't fields I'm necessarily familiar with, but I had the aptitude to bring it together so that somebody else could get their licensing and get their building and get their permits and things like that, their website and logos, and pull it together so they can walk in their path. So I said, now I need to walk in my own path. And I think that's where it is. But if she wanted to do the DJing, to go back to the question, I would say you need to have something else to fall back on. I say only have a plan A, but you really should, because I've flexed out my plan B and C and everything else.
Yeah, so you're enjoying it. I mean, last time I seen you, you was, well, not the last time, one of the last times I seen you, you were going through it.
Yes, no, last time I was here was almost a year and some change ago, and I was in tears.
But I'm talking about the time before that.
Yeah.
I met you for the music stuff.
Yeah.
You were going through it.
And I say I'm still going through it, but I'm like, I know that it's a storm that they say this too shall pass.
Yeah.
And I know that every time that I thought I couldn't make it, somehow something happened. So I don't know. Well, I'm not rich and I don't know what's going on right now, but I do know that every time I thought I wasn't going to make it, I did. And so because I'm a fighter, I'm going to do what I need to do. And I have enough brains and mindset to make a company, make my own path, make my own way, that I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to fail in anything I do. So if I have that aptitude and that that's what I'm putting out into the universe, then that's what's going to come back to me. I'm going to get that because I said that, I spoke that, and that's what's going to happen. And when you believe that, I truly, truly believe in it. And there are times I do have doubt like everybody else, but I can be a living testimony and say that every time I thought I wasn't going to make it, like I said, again, something better came along and some amazing opportunity. So if you're walking in that path, you know, music and DJing and all that other stuff is in your path, then you need to be, you know, when I say, like I said again, passion meets purpose, you need to be ready. So I'm practicing at night. I'm practicing transitions, beat matching, different song blends, so that again, if I do go on tour with Cheeks and stuff, it won't be like, oh my God, what do I do? You know, I'm like, I'm ready. You know, and even still, you know, the fact that somebody would give me the opportunity, like opportunity of a lifetime, to go on tour with, you know, a legend, and or the opportunity to run a station from scratch, and I'm learning that in itself. But the opportunity is there, and you have to say it's there for a reason. There are no accidents, so I'm ready.
How you feel about the DJ market? Like right now, I'm real frustrated because
Yeah.
it's like I don't knock no man hustle, but I'm gonna speak for me. I don't want to put nobody out there on your side, but you got club owners that's coming to you with these prices. That's just,
Oh my goodness, please don't go there.
that's just like, am I doing this for fun? Am I doing this just for entertainment? For you personally, like it's getting so watered down that it's hard for us to get paid what we deserve.
Well, it all comes to what somebody accepts. So like somebody brand new, even me, like, okay, so I take for instance, forget just even the club. It's like you said, you got to respect the DJ. The DJ is the person that basically will make and break your whole mood, will make and break your whole environment. That much control. And I'll just say I had this opportunity where somebody saw me DJing at the station and contacted the station owner and said they wanted me to DJ this private pool party. I said, okay, that's dope. So they said, how much? So I said the location. It was all the way out in no man's land. I was like, that's an hour drive. So sorry, yes. I said, okay, but I'm not doing less. And I'm putting it out there because I know that people do whatever they want to do. I said, I'm not doing it less than $100 an hour. Like, I just won't do that because I've got to travel. They said, oh, we got the audio. You just got to come and bring your control and your music. I said, it doesn't matter. It's still an hour. And you want me to DJ for 4 hours? So it's 3 to 4 hours. So that's an hour and a half commute coming going. So that's 3 hours. So basically that's an 8-hour day.
And you said no, yeah, they don't understand it.
So I said, okay, no problem. I said, but this is what it is. So he said, no, I would DJ myself, but it's my friend, so I don't want to really, I said, okay, no problem.
Yeah, you need me.
3 weeks ago, 3 weeks later, calls back again. So are you negotiable on that? I'm not negotiable on this price. I said, I respect the fact that, and I still feel like $100 an hour was not for a private event for several hours was still, good. But I said, okay, to each his own. I said, maybe you might want to get somebody close. He said, I said, well, why do you want me per se? He said, well, we want eye candy.
Yeah, bathing suit party.
Yeah, you bathing suit eye candy, and I don't mind being eye candy. Yeah. The eye candy gonna cost you, bro. So now that we're doing that, now that we're there, right? Now it's like, okay, well, no. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna get back to you. So I said, okay. A month later, he has the husband call me. He says, okay, well, this is the price, so we're gonna charge, it's gonna be $600 for but we want you to DJ basically almost for 8 hours. What?
Yeah.
What do you
they do that.
What are you doing? I'm new to the game, but I ain't that new. So it's like, okay, well, we want you to DJ. I think it was a max of 6 hours, but then it was going to be an 8-hour gig because I had the travel commute. It's going to be more like 9 hours. And I said it's $100 an hour. And he said, well, we're paying you by the hour. I said, but the travel time is an additional 3 hours. They start going back and forth with like, well, what will you take? I was like, I've already told this guy who's called me 2 times, and I have declined to say, hey, I appreciate the look, but I know what I'm worth. Not only that, I'm not working less than $100 an hour, and I'm all the way in no man's land. And that means that day itself, I will not be able to work. So when you talk about the clubs and stuff, they pay, just respect when people think they're going to be major DJs like DJ Nice and all that other stuff. You're not. So unless you're a known name with a radio station and stuff, the clubs may only pay $50 to $75 an hour. That's facts. Those ones that are trying to skimp on the DJs. Good clubs and people that have stations and stuff won't even accept a gig unless it's minimum 500. And so you think about these some of these places have actually been what is it called? I've actually had clients that are restaurants and stuff. These people make 20, 30K in a night. You mean to tell me you only want to give me $175, but the people will stay and come because of the name? If they know disco's coming, they know that's going to be a fire mix and I'm going to come. So I am your main attraction, and you only want to spend not even an eighth or ninth of money to pay me?
Yep.
No. So I know that I will not be a club DJ unless, you know, it's worth it for me, like I said, for the experience, or more so of that I just want to be in that vibe. Like Tribeca was amazing. You know, if I just want to be in that vibe, because you're not going to pay me unless somebody else co-signs for me, or unless I'm major or big. And so when I say you're not, is you will pay me or I won't work.
I got you.
So I'm okay with saying it's okay that I won't be in your establishment.
With that being said, hey, coming to an end, I appreciate you coming through, and I'm glad you got through it. I'm glad you got through it, and I'm glad you got through it, and I'm watching. That's how I talk to you, Freaky. But you know what I'm saying? I know you're doing good things. So tell everybody what you got coming up next. Look forward to, and then give them the last where they can find you at, and we're gonna close it up.
So we're the digital radio show will be live. I did my pre-show last week, but you will find me on Saturday nights from 6 to 8. You will find me on the Alexa app. You can just have it, just play it.
Okay.
Alexa, go ahead and just play Alexa. We will be on iHeart and that soon, but in Roku channel, but baby steps. But you can find me on thepreeminentradio.com. And outside of that, for the music, NMAYS at paramusicgroup.com. So always looking for artists and indie artists to go from not just the radio station, but just from a music perspective of indie artists, even though we're not releasing stuff now. And for any consulting business, HR Lifeline Consultants. So from websites, EPKs, as you can see, I'm just the all-around hustler. Yep. I got. If I don't got the skill set, I got the contractors that can get it done.
That's what's up. So again, appreciate you. I want to call you like I used to know you, but I'm gonna go DJ Trop. Appreciate you coming through. I wish you the best of luck, and it's there for you. I know it is.
It is.
So keep
Thank you.
grinding.
All right.